Let's kind of get this started. Reminder, of course, these tier lists are a combination of what I think are the top characters. These are, of course, my opinion that I take from a combination of competitive top level play, other pro players, top masters ranked, etc. And how I'll be ranking the characters. Basically, how I do this is a little bit different than how some of the other people do their tier lists. My list is basically, would I pick this character before I picked another character, right? So it's basically like, all right, this is like my top priority characters I'd be wanting to pick. You know, those are the F pluses you're looking at. S is like, all right, these are your awesome gods. A plus, S, those are like the gods you want to really make up the core of your team. I try to make it as bell curved as possible. I think it makes more sense that way. I don't like force it to be a bell curve, but like it kind of works out to be that way with the way I like to order my list. Basically, you're gonna see the top pick gods here towards the S plus S range that I think are the strongest. Maybe not necessarily top pick, if some of them are strong, they don't get picked. But the top, you know, powerful gods in the game comparatively to the bottom. And then A being the perfect focal point of balance. They don't need to be buffed or nerfed. They're right, perfectly pickable, but maybe don't get picked just because other gods are better. You know, perhaps they have a lot of gods in their role that are in the A plus S range, so that you don't really pick the A gods, right? So, that's kind of the reasoning. Right into the god list we go. Agni. Agni has been our pinnacle A god for I don't know how long. Agni is just a god that is very good, but just not great. He doesn't get picked almost at all anymore, and I think that's because there's so many mids, which is typically the role that he can fulfill, that are just better than Agni. And it's not that Agni is bad, it's that there's just so many strong middle gods right now. Mages are pretty powerful right now, and some of them are really powerful. So, just one of those things, you know? AMC. I'd have to kill myself if I didn't put him in B tier. The joke will never get old. It is official. And to be fair, it's probably where he belongs. I'm going to put him in this B plus tier. Specifically, I'm putting him in B plus tier because while he's not a character you're seeing picked very often, he has been picked and he has been played successfully in the Pro League and, you know, Masters ranked, etc. He has to have a team comp built around him. When we ran AMC, I forget when we ran him, but we did run him competitive. We had like 3 tanks, including a Geb that could shield him and like a Hades middle or something, you know what I'm saying? You have to build the team comp around AMC, but if you get to late game AMC, he is a powerful god, very similar to, say, Artemis, although Artemis is a little bit safer. Posh. Posh still one of the stronger gods in the game. Very risky. He's basically safe Hebo, if you will. Considering he's not very safe, though, it's safer Hebo. He does lots of damage. He can do it from quite a ways away. He's got decent slows. He's got good anti-healing. His ultimate's still good for objective control. It may not be the greatest for getting kills anymore, but it is really good for getting kills. If you're like at a gold for a fire giant, you can't really stop it. Very strong god, can still be played at a very high level. The problem is he can be very easily out of position, and he's a very difficult god to play. But being a difficult god to play does not make you a bad god. It just means you're hard to play. Anher. Anher is a god that just doesn't get played. I'm going to put him right here in this B plus tier with AMC. Anher is a god that I have a hard time ranking, mainly because he almost gets no play, so it's kind of hard to see where he should properly rank. He gets a little bit more play in Europe, at least he has in the past. His early game is strong, but it doesn't usually carry him right now through to the late game. Games are typically going about 30 minutes long, which means your ADC is going to get to that late game point. So you want somebody that can do something towards that part of the game. He's not getting big enough early game because of how passive you can play in the ADC lane right now. You can pretty much just play back and just call it a day. You don't have to force yourself to die. So he's not getting as much play as he has in the past. But not a bad character. You can certainly play him and do very well. He's just not a character that's going to really carry your games very often. Unless you're a what's-his-face. Who's that one guy that only played on full penetration? Guy's got like 80,000 kills on her. Whatever. You can play on her then. You got 80,000 kills on her, go ahead and play on her. Anubis. Anubis is a god that's just a very fun character to play, but just not good. If your lasses Or if you're Knight from China, I'm sure you can make Anubis work. But he's basically all Puash type damage, but even more unsafe. He stands still for his ultimate. You can't really be standing still for anything right now at high level of play. That was why a big change for Zeus being able to move while using his ultimate was so huge. When you stand still for any given length of time, you get blown up at a top level of play because you can't miss your skills. It's just a big problem for Anubis. If he could move while casting his ultimate, though, first of all, that would be hilarious. Second of all, please don't ever do that. Kuang. Kuang I'm actually giving to the A tier. Kuang has been a very strong god in the past. He's been like S+++ his levels. He just kept getting nerfed and nerfed and nerfed and nerfed and nerfed and nerfed and nerfed. And he's still a good god, and he still has crazy carry potential, but he's just not getting picked. Teams are not favoring him. When he's getting picked, he's not really performing. And some of this comes down to gods getting countered. People really learn how to play against Kuang. A big thing that hurt Kuang was the healing meta. Of course, he needs a big thing is his ultimate, which is the fact that you can kill people percentage-wise. You go to use your ultimate, they get healed by a Hell, or a Kepri, or an Afro, or a Guan Yu, and then you don't kill them, and then you don't get the reset, and your stealth is down because you use it to get your ultimate off, and now you're dead. It was a big problem for him. It was a really big problem for Kuang. So, Aphrodite, on the other hand. Aphrodite is a very strong god. She can have a hard time fitting into particular roles. Of course, mid and solo is where you're going to see her. Solo lane, she has a little bit harder time because of the fact that you can get invaded so easily with the mage in the solo lane, outside of maybe like Zhong Kui and some characters like that. But,
oh, yeah.
Hey, thank you for the sub. I appreciate it, Tralek. But she does very well in the mid lane. Her ultimate's very strong. She does very well against a lot of gods right now just because of the healing. She does a lot more damage than you think she should do. Her damage output is quite nice. The cooldown boots work very well on her. Those got buffed, of course, recently. They have the mana on them now. They work very well on her as well. An overall strong god, brings a lot to your team. Can be a little bit more difficult to play at a very, very top level. I mean, I don't mean like, you can be like a good Afro. To be like a Kiki level Afro, though, there is a bit of a step there to get those kind of kisses down. You got it, you know what I'm saying? You got to be kissing men. You got to be kissing men. Anyway, moving on. Apollo! Apollo's still one of our top ADCs. Apollo has... One thing that Apollo has that almost no other ADC has is he's good throughout the entirety of the game. He is this extremely consistent ADC to where at level 1, he's super strong because of his passive. At level 5, he's super strong because he can rotate. At level 20, he's super strong because of his passive, right? His passive is basically why he's OP. Not to mention, he still has the mez, he still has the knockup, he has great getaway, he's super hard to kill, his split push is super annoying at the end of the game. Really strong god. Also, before I go any farther, I do want to mention, some of these gods may get moved around as we continue farther in the list. If you want to see where everybody ends up, of course, skip farther in the video and go to the very end. But as we continue to put up gods here, I might be like, oh no, you pick this god before this god. So these may switch a tier or so up or down, one tier up or down, depending on where you put, as we go through the list and, you know, get to other gods. But this is the generic placements for now. Arachne. Poor Arachne is not very good right now. Arachne has no place in the meta. She can't lane at all. She can't really jungle. She falls off. She's just not very strong right now. I love her to death. I play her ranked because I love her to death. Her 1v1 potential is still amazing, but you're not really 1v1ing as a jungler. You're doing ganks. Her ganks are okay. The problem is when you get to about a team fight situation, her team fights are extremely poor, and Smite is very much built around team fights, as are all MOBAs. Ares. Ares is a god that has only 2 modes, and that's why I'm putting him in the balanced tier right here in A. Ares has, I got pooped on early, and I'm never coming back, and every time I use my ultimate, I'm going to get killed before my ultimate goes off. And he has I got a double kill in lane because I landed my chains and I had an aggressive ADC with me, and I got first blood plus a double kill, and then I got an early level 5, so I got another 2 kills, and now you can't kill me because I'm bigger than you and I'm going to 2v1 you. He has like those 2 extremes, and there's not really a middle ground for him, and that's why I'm putting him here in balanced tier. He's just a very snowball-based god. Lots of damage if he gets ahead. Artemis. Artemis I put right about here right now with B plus A tier. She's around yonder. I mean, if I could put her first, I would, but these are just all individual tiers together. Artemis is basically AMC with a little bit of a trade-off, right? So AMC has the hives that let him get away. Artemis has Tusky. Artemis could beat AMC in a 1v1, but AMC does more damage, period. Unless Artemis like gets some passive crits off. You know, it's kind of a little trade-off right there. But they're both the same type of character, which is basically no getaway, full ham. Hopefully I can make it to 30 minutes and then really tear people up. Same concept of the character. Athena. Athena just got nerfed, for those that don't know. They increased the cooldown on her ultimate. I believe it starts at 110 seconds now instead of 90. And then it goes down 5 seconds every time you rank it up. So it goes down to 90 seconds at the end. But she did get nerfed a little bit. It's not a big deal because we're buying cooldown boots. So the cooldown is essentially the same as before we were buying cooldown boots. But there is that trade-off. She's still a very strong character. Not quite ranking her as high as we used to. But I do believe she's an A+ character. She does have the potential to be played in multiple roles. Support, jungle, technically solo. Although solo she'd have a hard time because Bluestone is still really strong. But she is a strong character. Her lane clear is decent. Her team fight's amazing. Her ultimate's amazing. But she does have decently long cooldowns. She can have a hard time. The nerf, I think, will do a little bit of damage to her. We will see. We'll see how it turns out with Athena. But for right now, we're ranking her about A+. We used to rank her about S. I mean, that's only 1 tier down comparatively to usual. But no, you know, so I mean, it's not like she's bad. I mean, I'd still love to pick Athena. Feel free to pick Athena. That's not what I'm saying. But she just doesn't have quite the same global presence right now. Particularly in the support role, because you can't really build full cooldown. And the jungle, not so much. You can get the Breastplate of Valor and stuff with your cooldown boots, so the cooldown's not that big of a deal. But as a support, it was a pretty big deal. Awilix. Awilix is very strong. But she does work better with team comps that have knockups, so you kind of have to build a team comp around her. You're not forced into it, but it will do a benefit to have at least one other knockup character on your team. Sobek, Vulcan. It doesn't really matter what it is. But it will do you a lot of good with an Awilix to have somebody on your team that can do that. Her early game is incredibly strong. She is fairly reliant on Blink to blink into a fight and then chase after them with her Tiger. Yes, I'm calling it a Tiger. But she's about this A+ tier. She does not get banned right now, you know. You're not seeing her being one of these top picks, but she's a pretty strong jungle pick that's getting picked up 3rd, 4th type picks. But you're not going to see her in a 1st, 2nd pick ban situation, you know, necessarily. So, okay. The king, baby. The king's not too bad. He's right below this kind of balance point. The only reason why he's not even higher. Actually, you know what? He's the same concept as Ares. I'm putting him in the balanced tier. He's very late game oriented, which is kind of hard for a support right now to be late game oriented. What kind of popular supports are you seeing right now? Khepri, Sobek. What do those have in common? Well, they do have in common with Bacchus that they're kill oriented, but what they don't have in common is they're really good early game. Khepri and Sobek both have great clear. They have really good kill potential in lane. Bacchus, on the other hand, pretty poor clear. Better with his belch being able to knock back, but pretty poor clear. Pretty low kill potential until you hit 5. At 5, you have good potential. But before then, not so much. He does have incredible team fight with his ultimate. If you land a 2-man knockup, that can be a game changer. He would pair well with, say, Awilix would be a great combo. But he can be hard. He does have some counters. But overall, pretty good god. Particularly if you can guarantee land his belly flop. It can be harder in an online situation. But I find Bacchus to be a better land god than an online god, because 100 ping on belly flop is a big deal. Kind of similar to Ares actually with chains. 100 ping online is a big deal. 0 ping at a land, that's also a big improvement for him. So, Bakusura. I'm going to be honest. I think Bakusura is one of the worst gods in the game. I know somebody out there is going to shoot me. There's a reason why he doesn't get played at all anymore. It's because he has nowhere to go. He certainly can't mid or do ADC support, right? Which means you have to throw him in the solo lane of the jungle. He can't solo lane to save his life because he has no clear. You can't fight people because Bluestone destroys you. And in the jungle, he has great jungle clear, but you can't win the mid-harpy fight at level 2 because level 2 Bakusura is never going to win against a level 2 Awilix or Thor or Thanatos. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Right? You just unfortunately can't play Bach right now. That's about all there is to it. Bastet. Bastet's having kind of a hard time right now. She's not seeing very much play. She's not quite as bad as people think she is. I would certainly pick her before I picked Bacca. But she's kind of down here in this weird, like, if you're extremely good at her, you know, like Arachne can be annoying, right, in ranked. But I'm not expecting to see too many Bastets in a competitive play. I think the Oceania scene just played Bastet in, like, the solo lane or something. But no, don't play Bastet solo. Don't do it. Just don't do it, man. Don't do it. I'm saving you some trouble. I've had a lot of Bastet solos. I don't know why they think it's a thing right now. I blame the Oceania scene. It's not a thing. Bellona. Bellona, on the other hand, has continued to be and will continue to thrive. She's going to be our first god we're putting up here in this S tier. She is very good in the jungle and even better in the solo lane. Her slow is still ridiculous on her shield, and it's a great level 1 invade. Her hammer does incredible amounts of damage, particularly at that level where you're getting it to rank 5 pretty early game, or when you're 2 levels ahead of everybody else because you're a solo laner. Her disarm is huge and completely counters characters like Freya. Her ultimate is not only a great escape skill with a fairly low cooldown, it's also a great initiation skill that lets you fight in a giant circle. Everything about her character is really strong. She's still good with the character. You know, we're kind of in a tank meta. Heavy Hammer and Mystical Mail just got nerfed, but you know who got nerfed harder was Wukong. So Bellona is definitely filling the Wukong spot right now in terms of like the solo laner, if you will. She's the solo laner. Cabrakan. I'm a pretty big fan of Cabrakan. Putting him in this B+ tier. Personally, I think that he's not getting as much love as he should be in the solo lane. But that's not up to me. If we see him get some more play and do some well, maybe we can make him higher. But for right now, he's not seeing that much play. And the reason is he's kind of a trickier god. We did see the buff a couple, maybe 1 or 2 patches ago where they lowered the cooldown on his 2. It is a pretty big deal. That's a lot of damage on his 2. It's also the skill that you rank up first. It does a lot of damage. It gives you the protections. But he's not seeing enough play. He's kind of a situational pick. He works really well against gods that have dashes. You go against a team that has 3 dashes and you put down a good ultimate that blocks 2 of them and they can't get away. Well, that's a free fight that you just won. So that's something pretty big to factor in. Chaac. I'm going to put Chaac up in A tier. You know, he got a little bit of buffs. The only spot you're seeing him right now is in the solo lane, and that's because his clear is silly with Bluestone. He basically full clears the wave, he full heals, he never runs out of mana. You can't really do anything about Chocolate here in the solo lane as far as laning phase goes. You're going to be able to beat him late game. His still late game isn't that strong. Now, if you can get fed pretty early, you're going to be fine. But don't expect to see too many Chaacs at like an SBL level. But you will see a lot of Chaacs in ranked doing very well. He's still a strong character. He's very easy to learn. He's very good. A lot of players right now play him just for fun because he's pretty simple to use and he does a lot of stuff. You get a couple kills before like the 10-minute mark and you can actually do quite a bit of damage. Somebody to note, Zalia is actually playing a lot of Chaac and does very well with him. He builds him more damage-oriented than you would think for a solo laner, but he's making it work out very well. So if somebody can do it, then it's possible. Chang'e. Chang'e. Chang'e is one of my favorite gods in the game. I think she's incredibly skill-based. Her skills are really fun. They're really reactive to what other people are doing. Unfortunately, she does not have a home. She doesn't work in the mid lane. Solo lane mages aren't really a thing right now because of how strong the tank meta is for warriors. Unfortunately, we're putting her down in this B+ tier. She just doesn't have a home. Her late game is really strong, but you have to get there in order to do it. The only place you can possibly really see her right now would be the solo lane. But that's pretty much it. I personally play her in the mid lane, but she also doesn't have a level 2 fight. So, I mean, what are you going to do? You can't play her in the mid lane because you can't win the mid-Harpy fight. If you can't win the mid-Harpy fight, you can't play in mid. That's a big thing for mid right now. Chronos. Chronos is not getting any play. Me, personally, I can't play Chronos. I'm a terrible Chronos. I admit to it. I'm a terrible Chronos. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Nobody plays him anymore. I haven't seen him SPL at all this year. Excuse me if I'm wrong, but I don't remember a single time Chronos getting played. More or less winning. I don't see him in ranked at all anymore. I barely remember Chronos' skills. I'm just kidding. I know exactly what his skills are. But he's just a character that doesn't get played at all. It's hard to really rank him. But if he's not getting played, that probably means he's not that great. Cupid! Cupid's fine right now. He's actually doing fairly well. Actually, little old Cupid. Little old Cupid's had a kind of a weird season here in season 2. Remember way back in the start, he was like the ADC to pick right when season 2 came out, and then like all of a sudden he was like trashed here again, and now I was like, ah, Cupid's pretty good. Bluestone and Cupid. It's a lot of damage. It's a lot of damage in Heart Bomb. He works well with the aggressive supports that are in the meta. Khepri, Sobek. These are guys that really thrive with Cupid. If you've ever gone against Shaywa's Cupid in ranked, you want to poke out your eyeballs because he gets 2 kills on your ADC lane every game within the first 45 seconds. Not that bad. Not that bad. Fenrir. Fenrir is a character that I happen to love, and who happens to be pretty strong right now. Putting him right here in the A tier. The only role you're seeing him in is the jungle, and you know, rightfully so. That's really the only place you're going to see him. His level 2 fight's pretty strong for mid-Harpy. He's not the strongest, but not bad. His level 5 is great. His endgame is really good. You can transition either into a tank if you need to, or you can transition into an auto-attack based carry with lifesteal if you need to. He's got a lot of leeway. We've seen a lot of people play him well. Adapting in particular has been playing him very well. Very good character, but not OP. He's not typically gonna like take away the game. Freya. Freya is another actually. She's around yonder. I would love to be able to put her right in the middle. Alright, we're gonna put her in A+. Nah, we're putting her in A. We're putting her in A for now. Freya, early game sucks, right? Her early game is not good. She has the lifesteal. She pretty much sustains. You AFK in lane until you get your Trey item build. Once you get your 3 items, you get your boots, your fatalis, you get your demonic grip, and then all of a sudden you just go pew 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 pew. She thrives actually a little bit right now in the meta because of one thing. That thing being physical defense items, of course, are super strong this season. Tank meta is in. You're seeing 3 tank comps that are building a lot of physical defense. Well, with a magical ADC, they either have to lose a little bit of physical defense, so you have your jungler and your solo laner doing more damage to them, or they build the physical defense still and then you destroy them. Actually fairly strong right now in terms of that, and it forces people into stranger builds. Gabarino! We love Geb. He's right here in this A+ tier. Geb is not as strong right now as he used to be. We're not seeing him picked quite as much. Like I said, we're back to an aggressive support meta right now. Geb is like the opposite of an aggressive support. He's not He has a great mid game. He has a good team fight. And end game, of course, his end game is probably like unparalleled. But the problem is, if you don't make it through the early game and get your fights off early, your level 5 fights, etc., you're never going to make it to that end game. He has a hard time right now. Particularly great counters to him are Sobek and Khepri, and those are two of the most popular supports right now. Geb has no way to stop Sobek from plucking people. If you Sobek pluck, you can't Geb shield it because you can't Geb shield knockups anymore. That was changed a while back. You get Sobek plucked or your ADC, right? Your ADC gets Sobek plucked, you can't stop it from happening. Khepri, of course, destroys everything. It's Khepri. Guan Yu. Guan Yu's A tier right now. We've seen him play B+ tier. We've seen him played in both the solo lane and the jungle role, particularly DJ Pernicus in the jungle. Solo laners have been playing him on and off. His healing is really strong towards the end of the game. His ultimate's good. The problem is he can get so far behind. He has so many hard counters. You can't early pick this god at all, right? You have to pick him in, say, a counter pick situation, because you go to pick him in a solo lane role, and then you somebody that has a stun or a mez or whatever, an interrupt, and then you stop the Talon Assault and you can't clear. You play him in the jungle role, and you get somebody that goes Circat, obviously you can't deal with that. There's a lot of things you can't deal with. You'd have to kind of pick him with a counter pick, if you will. He can do well. He can. You can't just outright pick him. Hades. Hades is a god that's kind of underutilized. He can still be played mid. He can still be played in the solo lane. Hades is just dandy right now. One of the few mages, I call him a mage, he's a guardian. One of the few characters you can play as a guardian outside of the support role. You can play him mid, you can play him solo. Those are the two places you can play him. He does well. He's got the crowd control. He's a pretty safe laner. You're not usually going to die. You just build Warlock's Ash and call it a day. It's about Hades. It's about Hades. Ha, boy. If I was going to play Hub Boy, I rank him up here because my Hub was amazing. No, I'm just kidding. No, but seriously, my Hub was good. Poor Hebo. Down here in the B tier. Like I said, he's just super unsafe. They gave him the buff recently where his 2 was like kind of like a heavenly or so. I'd pick him actually. I'd pick him about the time I'm picking Chang'e. I'm moving him up to B+. I'd pick him before Chronos. He's strong, but unfortunately, he can really get camped, and he has a lot of counter picks. Like, if you pick Hebo, and then they pick Fenrir, GG, there goes that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I guess I'm getting brutalized until I'm dead. You just can't do anything about it. He has so many counter picks. You can maybe 5th pick him in a situation, but every time we've seen Hebo played, he's gotten stomped on. You just focus him. His level 2 fight's okay. The problem is you just get jumped on by whoever their jungle is and you die. Hell's a character that's either S or A+, and that's why I say S or A+. I'm putting her in S for now, but here's the deal. Weakening got nerfed, right? When Weakening got nerfed, people forgot how to play against healers. People said, well, I don't know what to do. How do I play against a healer without Weakening Curse? Okay, that's kind of what happened, and she's kind of deteriorating a little bit because people are using their brains, okay? Everybody's putting all their brain power together, and they're going, all right, we need 1 Weakening Curse by 10 minutes, okay? That's when team fight starts to happen. We need to have 1 Weakening Curse, okay? We need somebody to be getting 3rd item Pestilence. That's 25% healing because they just got buffed by 5%. And we need our mid laner to get a 3rd item Divine Ruin, okay? Divine Ruin, Pestilence, Weakening Curse, and if you pick a character like Sobek, and you have all the anti-healing in the world, in that case, if you're playing smart, I'd put her in A+. Because a lot of people aren't using the brains right now, I'm putting her in S. But if you play smart against her, she can be an A+ tier god. She's still good, and if you don't kill her with your anti-healing up, you're still going to die. The point being, you can counterplay around her. It can happen. Hercules. Hercules is okay. He's not getting picked at all right now. The only role he was really thriving in was the solo lane beforehand, unless you were Tricks Tank, in which case you were playing him in support role a while back. But poor Hercules is just... Bluestone meta wasn't great for him. It didn't help him the way it helped Bellona and Wukong and some of these other gods. But he's still annoying. His ultimate's still good. He still has the crowd control. He's still a good god. You're just not seeing him in all the games, you know? He has a lot of kind of counter picks now, but he's still doing okay. Hou Yi is one of our top ADCs. He's going right up here with Apollo. Hou Yi, of course, with those buffs recently has the ricochet on like a 10-second cooldown. His 2 is strong. His jump has incredible scaling now on it. His ultimate does super damage, plus a slow, plus everything. He is definitely one of the top ADCs in the game right now. Pretty difficult to play, but one of the top ADCs in the game. Definitely one of those first ADCs you're looking for. He also does extremely well against tanks because of his mark giving him the penetration inherently, and his kit, he does very well against tanks. Hun Batz. Hun Batz is a very strong character as well. We're putting him up in this A+ tier. Hun Batz doesn't have the best level 2 fight, so preferably you're going to need a mid that can kind of make up for it. But Hun Batz, people forget sometimes. You know, metas come and go, and they go through things. And people play characters, and characters drop off. And one of the characters that was really popular for a long time was Thor and Hun Batz, right? They were a combo pack together, right? They were a combo pack. If you didn't get Thor, you got Hun Batz. If you didn't get Hun Batz, you got Thor, right? That was kind of the meta. And we're kind of back to this Thor meta where Thor is incredibly, stupidly strong. But Hun Batz, people seem to forget that he has the best level 5 ultimate, arguably, of like anybody in the game as far as like junglers go. In combination with some of the other characters right now that are in some of these mid laners like Zeus, some of these supports like Sobek. Hey, thank you, Maferno, for the sub. I appreciate it. He is super strong. He does very well against a character, say like Hel. If you can get the ultimate off before she uses her her cleanse, force her to use those beads. You come back around with your cooldown, you smack her with it again. He does very well right now. His setup is great from the jungle. Very strong. Has the crit chance. Can get ahead. Very strong god. Isis. Isis is a god that me personally, if I was a middle, I would still be playing. Just because I have a soft spot for Isis. I just have a soft spot for her. But she is strong. She brings a lot of crowd control. She's not getting played right now because Isis is more of a... I'm gonna call her a support middle. Support middle, okay? What's getting played right now in the mid lane? Zeus. Zhong Kui, Janus. What do these kind of gods have in common? Carries. Those are carry gods. They're going to use a lot of damage right in your butt. Isis, on the other hand, she's like, okay, I'm stunning you. I did pretty good damage early. I'm silencing you. I've got my wing gust to get away. I've got blah, 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 blah. My ultimate's amazing at the end of the game. Early game is okay. You can get a weakening curse, and then it doesn't really heal, but it still does good damage, but you can just walk out of it. She's good. She's strong. I think she could be getting played more, but I think some of the other middles are just too strong right now. Oh, look at our bud Janus. Alright. So, Janus recently got a nerf. They nerfed the threshold, so it doesn't slow as much. But here's the deal. So they nerfed threshold. Instead of slowing of like 1,000%, it only slows like 20% at all ranks. 25%. 20%? 25%. Somebody will let me know. It's 20 or 25%, I can't remember. It slows that at all ranks. So technically right now, all you have to do is you have to get 1 point in your threshold, and then you can rank up your portal for damage if you really want to. Yeah, threshold will still give you other stuff. It's 25% on the slow. Gath threshold, so the slow is actually 5% more than it was at rank 1 before. So rank 1 actually gives you the rank 2 slow. So you can just get 1 point of threshold and then rank up your portal, and then do more damage with your portal vortex combo. He's fine. Did I mention his ultimate didn't get touched? He still has his ultimate. Kali! Kali's not getting played, and I don't really care for her to ever get played ever again. I'm gonna be honest. Her clear's ass. She only could be played in the jungle. Her clears cheeks. Her gank potential early is pretty bad. Her ultimate's still great. She can combo well with other gods. But she's pretty cheeks. Let her die. Never bring her back. Nobody wants Pentakill Kali to come back. I'm leaving it to that. Let Kali die. Forever. Khepri. Khepri just got a voice pack for those that don't know. Make sure you buy that in the Odyssey. Super cheap. You get the Khepri voice pack plus the Anuki voice pack. I think it's like 200 gems for 2 voice packs. Crazy. Or announcer pack, I should say. Announcer pack. Anyway, Khepri right up here with the best of our supports. Khepri immediately wins the laning phase because of his 2. Khepri has one of the best CCs in the game with his pull. He has a root to close the distance so he can pull. And his ultimate is the ultimate. So there you go. Anti-focus technique. You have one particular character you want to carry, say it's your AMC. They go to focus your AMC. You ultimate your AMC. He has 5 seconds of freedom. Plus he's got movement speed. Plus he's got attack speed. Plus he's killing everything. GG, no re. Kukulkan. This could be an unpopular opinion, but this is where I'm putting Kukulkan. Kukulkan's A. We've seen people play Kukulkan, and by people I mean Shadow Nightmare, very well. He's a character that you probably want a team comp based around. You want something that can CC with him, so he can more guaranteed land the ultimate. He's extremely safe. You throw down the tornado, and you can walk away from the wave. His mid fight is really strong because of the ultimate and how tight the little mid waves are. At level 5, he can be really strong. His slow is still good. He can get away from a lot of the junglers right now. He's not that bad. He basically comes down to, can I hit the ultimate, etc. Kumba Karna. Kumba's fine right now. Kumba's fine. Kumba is fine. Kumba's fine. I don't know what else to say about Kumba, other than he's fine. Kumba's fine. He's not great. He's fine. Kumba Kukulkan, though, now that's a combo you should try if you want to have some fun. He's just Kumba. He's just a sleepy-ass giant. Loki, no. Loki's trash. Don't let T2 convince you that Loki's good. Don't let him convince you that it's good. T2, stop playing Loki. Please stop playing Loki. You're killing me. Either he's against me and he's farming my solo laner somehow, or he's on my team and he's getting farmed. I love you, T2, but just stop playing Loki, man. He's not good. That's all I have to say about Loki. Stop playing Loki in my ranked games. Stop split pushing. It's annoying. It doesn't actually work. Medusa. Medusa's balanced right now. Medusa's got good clear at the start of the game. She's got decent crowd control. Her 1v1's pretty strong at the beginning. She falls off as a hunter. She's not going to really beat an Apollo or like a Shibalanke late game. But she's not trash at all. She's a very good god. Plus, she just got a new skin, Idusa, and I consider that a bonus. It's got a pew-pew laser. That should count for something. Mercury! Mercury! I'm giving Mercury B+. He is a god that he's so hard to mess around with because Mercury, I feel like, has never had a, I'm balanced point, right? Mercury has had, I'm so broken, it's stupid, and he's had, I'm so bad, I can't be played. And they moved him up a little bit by giving him that little extra damage on his passive, but if he gets nudged like a little bit more, then all of a sudden he breaks through the gates and he's destroying everything and he's Kali 2.0. I don't want that to happen. Leave Mercury where he is. He's fun to play. You can play him in ranked. Keep him out of competitive. Please. Please. I beg you. The worst experiences of my competitive life is being in the lane and getting Merc ulti down the entirety of the lane. It's the worst experiences. Watch any of the season, one game. No. No more. Neith. Neith is A tier. She is a unique god in that she's not really a hyper carry, right? for ADC. A lot of the ADCs, you're looking at crazy carries. Hou Yi, Apollo, Shibalanke, whatever, Artemis, AMC. Even these characters that aren't very good, they're still hyper carries. Neith, on the other hand, is more of a setup support, like a supporty ADC. You're going to see her... I like Neith when you have hyper carries in a different lane. You've got a crazy middle that's going to do a ton of damage. Great. Get the Neith to set up your middle. You've got an assassin over in the solo lane instead of whatever. Get the Neith so you can ulti over the solo lane and get kills and feed your solo laner. She's not a character that really herself is going to get fed. She's super safe in the lane, but she's meant to feed other characters. That's kind of her job. If you want to be a support ADC, go play Neith. Nemesis. Let me give Nem a B+. Nem can do okay right now because of the tank meta. She's B for bitchin' because she's a cool cat. But the ultimate does very well against the tank meta. But her mid Harpy fight kind of sucks. She can get away pretty easy. Her shield's super strong. They buffed it recently. It's got a lower cooldown. But you're not going to see her like all the time or very often. But she does do well against the tank meta. One of the reasons why I give her B+, not B, is she's actually really great against Zhong Kui, who's one of the strongest mid laners, if not the strongest mid laner right now. But she does do well. Hey, it's our boy Nezha. He's about a B+. We've seen him be played at a top level. We've seen him get farmed at a top level. He has potential. His ring toss is quite good early. His ultimate's good for setup and taking somebody out of a fight. He's got the good stun to set up his stuff. He has the heal, etc. Not a bad character, but not your same type of carry you're going to get out of a Serket, Awilix, Thor, Hun Batz. Nox. Noct is a character that a lot of people like, but not a lot of people play, if that makes any sense. A lot of people go, oh yeah, she looks cool, she sounds cool, she's got a cool kit, but she's too hard to play, she's too inconsistent, whatever it may be. I still think Nox is an A tier. She's not a typical god that's going to carry your brains out right. She has higher cooldowns, but using her right, you can either completely force somebody's beads, you can immediately annihilate somebody with her 1. Her 2-1 combo is great for the early mid-game fight, the mid-Harpy fight, etc. Her ultimate does a ton of damage. If you use her 3 right, she can combo with a character like Thor and go absolute ham on people. It's extremely hard to kill her if you play her right. You just hop into your Guardian and then you sit inside him for 8 seconds. Not a bad kit. Just not necessarily a professional level kit because it's a little bit unreliable in terms of it's kind of hard to use, honestly. It's kind of a hard kit. It's kind of hard. Nuwa's fine. Nuwa's not getting played anymore outside of, like, who is it? Dimmy, I believe? Epsilon's Dimmy, right? The solo laner over there loves Nuwa, plays her all the time over in the solo lane, which is interesting. Not seeing as much mid-play, perhaps, as she used to. This season started off with a whole lot of Nuwa, ended with a whole lot of Notwa. But, pretty good clear. If her minions weren't dumb, she could be even higher on this list, but her minions are still stupid. Her clay combo, though, does a ton of damage if you have to hit people with it. Her ultimate can still help people get early kills. It can still help you get fed early. If you get ahead on Nuwa, not to mention that she's safe because of the ultimate, but she also does a ton of damage if she gets even a couple levels ahead. Odin. Okay, so there's a bug right now with Odin, and it's weird, but you can only do 667 damage, and I just, once you do, you can't do any more damage, so I've got to put him down in D. Okay, I'm just kidding. But Odin's okay. Odin can be used right now for anti-healing, of course. He does very well against Hel. He does good against, like, Aphrodite. He has unreliable damage. You can get knocked up with your 2-1 combo. You use your shield and your jump, right, on Odin, and you go to land. Geb knocks up at that point. Sobek tail whips. It stops all of your damage. It's incredibly ineffective. It's really unfortunate. But Odin gets completely countered by knockups because it stops the entirety of his damage from his 1-2 combo, and then you're useless. It really is bad. It's not a bug, it's just how it works. Same kind of thing can happen with Fenrir. Osiris. Osiris is one of your top solo laners right now. We're going up to A+ with our Osiris. He has a lot of good matchups in solo lane right now. I'm going to be honest with you guys. He beats Wukong. And if you beat Wukong, you're doing pretty good right now. Even though Wukong just got nerfed, he's still doing very strong right now. Osiris, one of your top picks you're looking at for the solo lane. Poseidon. Poseidon's just dandy. You go Poseidon. You know, people are going to build Aegis to avoid your Kraken, but you're forcing people into an Aegis. You may force the support into an Aegis. That means they don't have something like a Heavenly or a Shell. You force, you know, the mid laner. If you maybe have an Odin with you as well, maybe they can't get Blink because they had to get Aegis. You know, there's a lot of things with him. He does pretty well against Janus right now because now the Whirlpool, you can't go through portals. He does a lot of damage. His Trident, give him the movement speed. Very strong character. Not going to carry your games typically. Has the potential to. Very balanced. Strong and balanced. As are pretty much all our A-tier characters. Ra. I have a hard time A or B+ for Ra. When I think about Lassus's Ra, I kind of want to put him in A. When I think about everybody else's Ra, I kind of want to put him in B+. It's kind of that, like, bada bing, bada boom. Putting him in A, though. The snipes are good. You get a lot of damage. The heal is nice. You can use it to reset. You can be dived very easy on Ra is the big problem. On Ra, you're so susceptible to ganks. You have the passive for the movement speed, but you can just get a weakening curse and then you dive him. You get a pestilence and his healing's useless or whatever. A big thing about Ra, though, is a lot of people don't want to build anti-healing against the Ra. They're like, oh, he's not really a healer. He's just mostly a healer. And so people don't get a weakening curse until 25 minutes. Well, in that case, you're going to win the game. But you get a 10-minute weakening curse against a Ra, and he is a sitting duck. Not to mention he stands still to use his ultimate. We talked about it beforehand. Standing still to use your ultimate is just not a good thing. Rom. Rom's right here in A tier. He's doing just dandy. He's a good ADC to pick. He's pretty balanced. He's pretty skill-based with his ultimate, but you're not usually going to pick him before you pick Hou Yi, right? Just not going to happen. We're getting to that point where we have our comparison characters. You're picking him before you're picking AMC, but you're not picking him before you're picking Apollo and Hou Yi. There you go. There you go. Ratatasker. Rat sucks. I don't know what's up, guys, but Rat sucks. He was so strong for so long, and he's so damn cute, and everybody's like, I'm going to play the Rat. He is amazingly cute, and I can just dash, 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 dash. And then all of a sudden, Hi-Rez was like, no more dashing, and Rat was like, but that's one of my skills. To be fair, screw the Rat. His dashing was the most annoying thing that has ever happened, ever. Ever. I don't care that he's gone. But Hi-Rez basically did a big old sledgehammer on him and squished him into like a sludge of nothingness. But that's fine. That's fine. Let him go. Let him go. Let him go. Let him go. Holy shit, it's Ravana. Ravana's down here with our Bakusuras. Ravana's kit. Let's clear something up about Ravana. Ravana's kit is not bad. I want to clear that up. He does not have a bad kit. He has a bad ultimate. Okay? His kit's okay. You level up the 3 first. His 2 is basically Chang'e's skill. It does good except for it does damage. It's good. His 1 is good. but he doesn't have an ultimate, which is the most important part. If he had a new ultimate, I swear you're going to see him picked all the time. Imagine if he had an ultimate that did like 3 times the damage, or 87,000 times the damage, excuse me, that his current ultimate does. He would actually get picked. His 1v1 or the soul lane would be fine. His gank potential maybe would be good. If they ever redo his ultimate, you're going to see Raven be picked. Because his triple skill, like his 1, 2, 3 are fine. His 4 is just atrocious. And ultimates are kind of important in an ultimate-based game. Scylla! Scylla's B+. The big thing with Scylla is her clear sucks. It's not the worst clear, but it's certainly not the best clear. You can snowball out of control. If you're wearing a Cog Scylla skin, she's A tier. But if you're not wearing a Cog Scylla skin, you're like B+ tier. Her ultimate's obviously amazing. Counterable, but still strong. She's very squishy. She's not bad, though. She's not bad. Sir Crit. Sir Crit, of course, one of our top characters. One of our top junglers, if not the top jungler in the game. Incredible mobility. I mean, nobody needs an explanation for Sir Crit, right? We all know she's OP. Like, we know she's broken, right? Nobody needs to, like, an explanation for why she's that strong. We got it. She's broken. We got it. We got it. We all got it. Sobek. Sobek, this may surprise people. Sobek's one of your top supports. We've seen it been happening lately. Not only is Sobek ranked up here for support, he's not up here strictly for support. We've seen him in the solo lane, okay? Sobek can play solo. It's an option, and it's worked in the past, and it's been working very, very well as support. He's been working in both roles. He does have a little bit of multi-role, possibilities. And as far as support goes, he's been nailing it with his recent buffs on his ultimate with the protections. He's been nailing it. Absolutely nailing it. Soul. Soul's coming up here to the top. She's coming up to the top with the rest of our friends. She's one of the strongest characters in the game right now as far as ADCs are concerned. You pick that Soul. You get that full clear, and you get that tower. Her ultimate's kind of schmeh, but like that is a strong character. She's got the 1, which is a heal. She's got the 2, which full clears a lane. She's got the 3, which is a built-in Fatalis, and she's got the 4, which is an okay ultimate. Wukong. Wukong is like, dare I say, balanced. Oh, dare I say. Dare I say Wukong is now A tier. Let the riot begin. Everybody riot. There's a panic happening. I know there's a picnic. But Wukong, post-recent nerf, is actually just dandy. He's fine. I'm going to let it sink in for a second. Wukong is no longer the instant pick of all time. He's actually fine. He's just fine. Sylvanas, Professor Sylvanas. He's fine. Professor Sylvanas is a good character. The problem is he has a hard time against Sobek, and Sobek's one of the top characters right now. So it can be hard to pick him. He does have healing, which makes him strong, of course, in this healing-oriented, tank-oriented meta. He's got good initiations. He's got good things going for him. He's got good clear. He's not as effective late game as, say, a Geb is. He's not as effective early game as, say, a Khepri is. But he's fine. Thanatos. Thanatos is a B+. Thanatos is a B+. Yeah. Thanatos kind of been around that B+ level for a long time. His ultimate got technically a buff when they reduced the Khepri ultimate so he can get killed by threshold type skills. But I mean, nobody's gonna argue that Thanatos is just like a little bit below, right? He can still carry in like a rank game because you just get fed out your brains, but Thor. I honestly have considered putting Thor in S+ tier, but I'm putting him in S. Thor is so dumb. I don't know if you guys have really been playing Thor lately. I don't know if you've really been playing against it. But this whole Thor ults you, autos you, hammers, stuns, autos, threes, and you're 100 to 0 at no matter what point in the game is really annoying. It is really annoying that he can do that while global ulting from lane to lane kind of thing. Like, it is just nonsense. His mobility is too good. His cooldowns are too low. He has global presence. He'll never get nerfed because he's, you know, he's a face god, right? He's like, everybody knows Thor, but damn, he's annoying. Unless you're playing him, in which case it's hilarious. Tier. Tier's not bad. I'm putting Tier in B+. Tier's better than you guys would probably think he is. I would give Tier a little bit more opportunities than you probably have been giving him. He does quite a bit of damage. He has some okay CC. He's not like the best god in the game. I wouldn't pick him before I picked Osiris or something. But he's really not that bad. He maybe needs a little something to make it happen. But keep in mind, he did get that new skin. And that new skin is very crucial for how strong he is. The R tier skin, pretty strong. Pretty strong. Ullr's A tier. Ullr's A tier. Decent lane clear. Pretty good kill potential early. Late game's not as strong as some of the other hunters, but could be worse. He can actually be played in like a mid-roll if you want to play Ullr because he's kind of skill-based. He works well with the red buff in the mid lane for like level 2, 3 kills. He's got a good mid-harpy fight, so you can play him in the mid lane. A lot of Europe likes to do hunters, middle, neath, whatever. He works fine. Vamana. Vamana no mana banana. Vamana's A tier. Vamana's pretty much been A tier ever since the Bluestone came into the game. He full clears essentially at level 2. You can't really stop him from clearing. He wins the lane. He transitions better into the late game than Chaac does, so I'm going to bring Chaac down here to B+. Vamana transitions better into the late game than Chaac, and he's kind of a Chaac in the lane. So we're bringing Chaac down 1 tier. But that's basically what you're looking at for Vamana. Vulcan. Vulcan's a character that doesn't get played at all, which I find to be a little bit interesting. But he's pretty balanced. He basically... So his ultimate is incredibly good for securing objectives, right? It's so strong for securing objectives. It's hard to see. You'd have to have vision on it in order to do it, and it still has timing issues. His meatball is really good, especially you can combo that with a character like Awilix, so he's pretty strong there. His turret's annoying, but not nearly as bad as when people used to level the turret first, so that was a whole thing. And of course his backfire is low cooldown, decent damage. He's not great, he's not bad. When you see a really strong Vulcan, like a really high level skill Vulcan, you see him played pretty well. But it's not the same kind of thing as if, you know, you were playing just as a default Janus. You're going to have more presence around the map, right? But not a bad character. Xbalanque, of course, one of your top hunters. Xbalanque has been one of your top hunters essentially all season, and he will continue to be. Xbalanque's laning phase, of course, is poor, as most people know. Doesn't have the clear like some of the other hunters do. His ultimate has that global presence, and more importantly, his ultimate in team fights is arguably the best hunter ultimate in the game, him and Hou Yi, except for Xbalanque's always lands, right? You use the Xbalanque ult as you're initiating, you time it correctly on your team, your Geb blinks in, your Xbalanque ults, your Geb ults, their team's panicking, they're running away because they can't see. By the time they turn around, your entire team's initiated and using their skills on a squishy. Very strong character. Xing Tian. Xing Tian's a character that I think I was a little bit too hard on. He started off at such a high level because he was broken, and then he got nerfed so hard that I kind of thought he was going to be useless. And I was fairly correct in terms of his usability in the support role. As far as being a support goes, he's not very good. He's not a very strong support. He lacks the initiation component. But he's a quite strong solo laner, and that's why I'm putting him in the A+. Often when we think Guardians, we think supports, and for the most part that holds true, but there are some exceptions to the rule. Think Hades being, you know, more mage-like, but as a solo, Xing Tian is quite strong. His harass is incredibly good. It actually works fairly well here in the tank meta because it's a percentage damage skill, so it does do pretty well there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Asiel, for subbing 4 months in a row. I do appreciate it. There's a big ol' flex for you, friend. Ymir. Poor Ymir. He's having a hard time. He started off this season as one of the strongest supports, and he's kind of fallen off since then. He's not really doing it. He's pretty squishy. You're not seeing him in any role outside of support right now. As far as supports go, Ymir actually has a decently bad time against Sobek and Khepri. Both can put him in quite a bad position with no escape skill, particularly before he has his boots and he can't even use the wall to get away. Not the worst kind of character, but he's certainly not doing too great right now. Alright. Now we're down to the nitty-gritty. We're down to our Zeus and our Zhong Kui. Zeus and Zhong Kui. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, BM Badger, for the sub. I appreciate it. Thank you for subbing 5 months in a row. Zeus, I'm giving S. Zeus damage is insane. He is one of these mid laners that you simply do not want to mess with. His mid fight is incredible. His Harpy fight is nasty. His team fights are insane. The fact that you can move while using your ultimate is crazy. You're not nearly as squishy as you think you would be because of the fact that you just kill him, right? You're like, oh, I'm squishy, except for boom, you're dead. Yeah, I ain't squishy if you're dead. The 2-1 combo is stupid harass. The slow on the chain lightning is great. That chain was great for him. Just an incredibly strong character. And one of my personal favorite characters who recently got a nerf that was completely unnecessary is our Zhong Kui, and we're ending with our Zhong Kui being our only S+ character. Zhong Kui is absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. We're in a tank meta, right? We're in a tank meta where we can now have a mid lane tank that destroys the entire team. His 1 is a slow that bleeds you on a 10-second cooldown that you can get lower. His 2 is essentially a full heal that does more damage with your 1, right? Because you take off some of the 1 damage and do the bonus damage to your 2 to get it off immediately. Your 3 gives you double auto attack, not to mention it's also a stun. But the big thing is your ultimate does insane damage to the entire team. Not to mention, it doubles your passive protections. Let's throw that out there, which you can have 40 of. 20 stacks times 2. You can have 40 times 2 in your ultimate. So you're getting 100,000 protections. Not to mention, you now are one of only 2 mages in the game, you and Freya, to get magical protection scaling. Plus, he got a bonus HP start. So not only that, but you're starting with more HP than some of the tanks. Some of the tanks. Absolutely incredible. Super strong right now. One of the reasons why he's also up there is he's one of the only characters that can hard counter Zeus. Zeus does a lot of damage. Well, Zhong Kui don't care that you do a lot of damage because Zhong Kui running at your face. And that's our tier list, guys. That's how this one ended up. This ended up pretty mid-focus, you can see, which is always good. We want to see more gods around the A+, A, B+ range than we do want to see outside of that. That means that the game is more balanced than it's less balanced. But we do see a couple characters outside of that range that need to either be toned up or toned down. But I appreciate you guys watching. If those watching on YouTube, thank you so much. And please, if you enjoy the content, subscribe to my channel. And as always, have a twitching day. Now for